In this video, guys, we're going to talk about the best healers in Hero Wars, the 3 that I think everybody should be grabbing and leveling up, and of those 3, which one you should level to max, and not the other 2. Let's take a look.
It's only a game. Why you have to be mad?
What is up, heroes of Dominion? My name is Charlie. This is Hero Wars Central. In this video, we're talking about healers, the best healers in Hero Wars Dominion era for 2024. I guess everybody needs a good healer, right? Everybody needs roughly 3 healers for Clash of Worlds and Grand Arena, and to have a little bit of flexibility in the arena and Guild Wars proper itself. Taking a look at the healer role branch, there's only 7 healers, but there is an honorable mention, and the one that you should max out is not even in here. That's so interesting. So the 2 healers that I would probably recommend everybody do, one of them is a have to have. Another one is a little subjective. The first one is Martha. Now, Martha is a extremely important hero to level up, possibly one of the few mandatory heroes in the entire game. She stands in the back, obviously. She's very strong, so she is really effective at defending against enemies targeting the back line, and she has a nice abilities of defending your team and increasing their battlefield effectiveness, both with the armor artifact, increasing the team's armor, as well as the ultimate ability to increase the allies' speed for 6 seconds. But not only that, she is she's the healer for the best PvE team, player versus environment team, the Osh team, that is Isaac, Jew, Nebula, Sebastian, Martha. You want to score high on the City of Asgard for your guild, and in most of the iterations of the #1 team, whether you're looking at the Cornelius version or the Jew version, Martha is the healer that you need. The issue is you don't necessarily need to level her up too high in order for her to be effective. There are some arguments for and against that we're not going to talk about here, but you don't need a very strong Martha in order for her to do her job, to be effective as a backline tank and an area of effect healer and a speed up for your team and all of that. And unless you're clearing 2 to 3 level 160 Ashas per week, then a roughly 100k Martha is probably all you're going to need. But as your team gets stronger and as your guild gets stronger, you will consider leveling her up. The second healer that's going to be a little bit more subjective that I would recommend everybody consider, Dorian. Dorian is the best healer in the game, but it is location dependent. He has this ability called Initiation, provides vampirism to nearby allies. And if you don't know what vampirism is, whenever a hero with vampirism deals damage, they gain a percentage of that damage back as health restored to themselves. So 115% vampirism means that if I do 100 damage, I'm getting 115 health healed back up, which is very strong. The issue is he's kind of a slow healer. He doesn't really do a lot of healing for your front line. He only has this Ancestor's Element, sacrifices 20% of his health to heal an ally with the lowest health, which, if that's your tank, that's bad. You don't want your tank to be the lowest health. So that targeted ability doesn't really often hit your tank. And his ultimate, which you can't really activate that often because of how far back he stands, this is going to allow everybody in the team to have some pretty serious vampirism, but only for 7 seconds, maybe twice, maybe 3 times in a given fight, right? So very situational depending on your team. My server is full of Dantes, and if your server is full of Dantes also, then the #1 team that you should be building to counter all of the Dante teams, let's see if I can find a quick Dante team to look at here. Of course, whenever I want, it's never there. So this is a very interesting Dante variant for sure. Not a typical one, but these 3 heroes right here, Heidi, Iris, Dorian, are very strong at countering Dante lines. The other 2 heroes, the tank you choose, the 5th hero support, it's going to vary depending on what the other team has. For example, here with Iris, I would use Astaroth. With Axel and with Orion, I would probably use Isaac here. With Mara, to silence, right? Additional silencing is very effective against Orion, Iris, and Helios. So that's pretty nice, and that's why I would recommend Dorian as the second healer that you should choose. Now, you might not see a ton of Dante lines. You might see a ton of Ishmael lines. Ishmael is relatively countered a lot by, you see Maya and Amira combo countering a lot of the Ishmael lines, right? So that's another consideration, but it really is going to depend a lot on who you tend to fight in Guild War and how your arena looks whenever you're fighting it up and down. But the thing about Dorian is it doesn't matter how high you level him up, as long as his skills are leveled up. Initiation, Wings of Night, Ancestor's Amulet, as long as the skills are maxed, you don't need to level him up that high. You should eventually level him up that high, but you can see that I've left mine at around 76,000, and the reason for it is this vampirism aura. It persists when Dorian dies. Okay, so if you're going up against an enemy cleaver, he hooks your Dorian to the front and he dies, then your vampirism aura is right there in the middle of your team. If you are going up against the Dante and the Dante is continually pushing your team back, even if Dorian dies, your team is going to be standing in that vampirism aura for the rest of the fight, right? So it doesn't actually matter if you max his skins and his artifacts and his glyphs and his gift of the elements, as long as this ability right here is maxed out and you're able to survive a little bit of the fight, right? You don't want him to just fall over immediately, right? So Martha, good healer. Dorian, subjectively the better healer for my server, but your mileage may vary and you don't really need to level him up too much. The third healer that you should absolutely choose and max out is actually a mage. Celeste, one of the best healers in the game. She is really, really, really good at single target, very fast healing. Her Two Fates ability allows you to ultimate at half the rate of a regular hero. So instead of having to have 100% energy, you only need 50% energy in order to activate it. And because of that, she switches to her light form or her dark form whenever you need it, and the healing Purifying Sphere that removes the debuffs and the spot healing for a single target. It's absolutely incredible, and the amount of control you can have toggling it back and forth when you're playing in manual mode. By the way, Celeste is much better on offense than she is on defense, because manual control of Celeste is how you win. She stands very close to the front, which makes her a little flimsy against certain lines, but her basic attack does magic damage instead of physical damage, which basically every other hero in the game, their basic attacks do physical damage. And because of its magic damage, she is going to be more effective against some of those low magic defense warriors like Kark and Dante, Yasmin, and in some levels Ishmael. And she also will block healing whenever she switches to her dark form. She drops a cursed flame on the enemy, and that blocks healing and does damage instead of healing. Against double healer teams or teams in Clash of Worlds fortifications that have bonus healing, you're going to really want to have a Celeste on your team to slow down and stop that healing. Very similar to Biscuit, but not exactly. It's a lot better than Biscuit, actually. And there's no reason, there's no stat whatsoever that Celeste has that you should not max out. She's one of those heroes that you can max out all of her skins, you can max out all of her glyphs, you can max out her Gift of the Elements, you can max out her artifacts all the way up to 130, and you can fully max out her Ascension, and you will not have any issues with over leveling a hero, which we hear about a lot, the sweet spot, or a dirty hero that isn't quite leveled up all the way. So those are the three healers for Hero Wars Dominion Era that I would recommend everybody level up. You're going to have a lot of versatility with those three. Let me know what class that you want to do next, the best tanks for 2024, the best damage dealers that you should level up. If you want to learn more, if you want to chat live, I do live stream every weekday. The schedule is on screen now. I do hope to see some of you there. We do giveaways all the time for all versions of the game. I love you all. Good luck in Dominion.